Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today to talk about getting large language models running on your NVIDIA Jetson Orin under Jetpack 7.2 and have those models where the work is pushed down to the GPU. Pretty tall order, so I will need you to pour yourself a nice tall glass of ice cold coffee. That would be straight up black coffee, poured over ice, no sugar, no sweeteners, none needed. And as you're pouring your coffee, I want to give a great big shout out to Gemini AI, who told me that I have way too much introductory banter in my videos and I need to jump into the meat quicker. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to jump into the meat. So what is my whole interest in the Jetson Nano? The Jetson Orin Nano? Well, we have a class going on right now on the Raspberry Pi 5, and in that class we are doing artificial intelligence, and we're controlling a lot of neat components using the artificial intelligence. But if I want to do something like, say, turn the NeoPixel ring blue, I can do speech to text where it hears me say that, but all it can do is look for keywords, and then my Python program has a bunch of if statements, and if it hears NeoPixel blue, it then turns the NeoPixel blue. But what I want to do is I want to be able to interact with my project in natural language, where I could say something like, do something with the NeoPixel to cheer me up. And it would understand what I was saying, and then it would figure out something neat to do that would cheer me up. Now, in order to do that, you have to, on your hardware platform, you have to have a large language model running, and you have to have an agent running. And so that is why I am interested in the Jetson Orin Nano, because it can run large language models, and that's what we're together working, trying to get going on this Orin. Now, what I showed you a couple of weeks ago, I showed you how we could get some simple large language models running locally on the Orin hardware, and now we're going to start digging in deeper, because we can't get the agent and the higher end stuff working until we get the lower end stuff working. What's the great news? In the last lesson, we were able to get the model running down here, and now we're going to kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive on that. There I went again in way too much introductory banter, and now time for us to jump into this. First thing that I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to open up your browser. I have Firefox here, and so I'll open it up. If your Firefox does not show up here, you just click the little circle in the lower left of your screen. This will come up and you can find your Firefox there, okay? And I like to come over here and I kind of like to pin it here, so I'm going to pin it to the dash, and so that is great. I want you to see that I am running in the max in super mode just because I can. And then once you've opened up your browser, I need you to go to the most excellent www.toptechboy.com. I need you to run this, use this happy little search tool here and search on something like no cloud, no internet, no problem. That was last week's lesson. We're going to pick up where we left off last week. We're going to open up a terminal, get all your windows organized nicely here. You see how everything fits together so you can see the whole thing. And then in this lesson last week, I showed you that you could get the model running on the Orin with just two commands. The first command installs Ollama, and so if you were not here last week, you need to go ahead and get this first curl command. You will copy it, and then you'll come over here to paste. You cannot paste into a terminal with Control V. You have to right mouse click and do the paste. But I have already installed this, so I don't need to do that again. If you watched last week's lesson, you've already installed it as well. What we're going to do is come over and run the model. And so when you install, if you do this curl, it's going to take 30 minutes. If you haven't done it, pause the video, go ahead and do it. When it comes back giving you the A-OK, you'll be ready to go to the next step, which is to run the model. So I'm going to come over here to Ollama run Genma 3:1b. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here and paste it. Don't click enter, just paste. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do something a little different. We showed last week that we could run it, but we don't want to just run it. We want to know what's going on. So we're going to go verbose, like that, verbose. All right. Don't click enter yet. Some of you clicked enter. If you're the one who clicked enter before I said okay, leave a comment. Guilty as charged. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another terminal, and I'm going to click the little plus sign here. I've got another terminal. I'm going to get this command ready, Ollama PS. And this is going to give us details of what's actually running. So I'm going to have this little command ready. I'm going to come over here now. Okay, we're going to hit enter, and we're going to see some magic happen, hopefully. Okay. All right, that was pretty quick. So now I'm going to use my favorite AI prompt, factor x raised to the fourth equal 1 completely and list all roots, like that. Okay, now when I click enter, I'm going to hop over and I'm going to go back to that Ollama PS command. So that is running, that is thinking. I'm coming over here, Ollama PS, and denied. What do we see? All the work is being done on the CPU. No work is being done on the GPU. Now, what is that like? That is like you just bought and unboxed a Formula One race car and you're going around the track in first gear. Now that baby has 8 gears and you're running in first gear on the CPU. Now in today's lesson, what I want us to do is I want us to at least get to second gear where we're running this thing on the GPU. Now, once we get it on the GPU, then we can go in and in future lessons, we can figure out how do we make it run better on the GPU. But let's just see if we can get it over to the GPU. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing. We came over here and we put that verbose in. But before I talk about that, let me just run that command again because I want to show you something else. Okay, I'm going to run it. You come up here under your NVIDIA icon and you're going to say run the Jetson GUI, okay, the Power GUI. And what you see here is we are maxing out those CPUs and almost nothing is happening on the GPU. What gear are you in? You're in first gear. Where do we want to go? We want to go to second gear. But as we try to get to second gear and then in the future third and fourth and fifth gear, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to be able to kind of keep track of some benchmarks. All right. And so I'm going to get the Power GUI out of the way and then I'm going to fire up over here. You can fire up your LibreOffice. That's a little spreadsheet, so you can fire that thing up. I already have mine up, and I've just put together a little spreadsheet where we can keep track of what's what and what's going on. Okay, now what do I see? I see a lot of talk here about something called tokens. What is a token? A token is the smallest chunk of text that the large language model evaluates. Now, it is less than a word, it's more than a character. And this isn't a perfect analogy, but the way I like to think of it is it's like a syllable. Run-ing. It knows what run means. It knows what ing means. So run-ing would be 2 tokens, or look would be 1 token, or he looked, in the past tense ed, that would be 2 tokens. So look, would be 2 tokens. So it's sort of how it can keep track of language. Now, what you see is that it took 250 tokens just to parse that command or that prompt that I gave it. And then what we really care about is the prompt evaluation rate. It was evaluating those prompts at 64 tokens per second. Now, that's to figure out what I ask for. Now, to figure out its answer, that is the evaluation rate. So prompt evaluation rate is what did this bozo just ask me? And the evaluation rate is what am I going to tell him? And you can see that it evaluated, it easily understood what I was asking for, operating at 64 tokens per second. And then in trying to figure out how to answer me, it was operating at 14 tokens per second. So we're going to come back over here. And what model are we running? We're running the model Gemma 3:1b, and we are operating on the CPU, right? And the prompt tokens per second was, what did we say? 64.31, and then the evaluation, getting the answer, it was 14.36. I'm going to save this just to make sure that I don't forget to. Okay, and then I'll say save. Yes, I'll replace it. All right, so that's good. Now, was it throttling? No, it was not. It was not. If it was throttling because of too much power or too much heat, up here you would get a red exclamation, and it would say that it had to throttle, that you were pouring so much juice into that CPU or the GPUs that it had to turn it down. So all of that is good. So what have we learned? We've learned that with the standard install, that Ollama runs on the CPU. Now, why is that? Because when they wrote that script for the standard install, they didn't know about Jetpack 7.2, and now Ollama is confused, like, what is this Jetpack 7.2 nonsense that nobody told me about? So we are going to need to fix that. So we're just going to say bye here to get out of this. And now we are going to go back to www.toptechboy.com, but we're going to go to today's lesson, which is called NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano, the secret to running Ollama on the GPU. So the secret sauce is incoming secret sauce. So we look at this and we kind of back up. You already did the install. That was in the earlier lesson. You already ran the Gemma model. That is what we just did. And so you are ready for the secret solution. What we have to do is we have to create a configuration file that tells Ollama kind of the roadmap. Okay, you got confused. Let me give you the roadmap. So in order to do that, we have to be able to edit a text file on the Orin Nano. And so we need to install a text editor. And so what we are going to do here is we're going to get this little install. And that little install, we're going to come over here and we're going to paste. And what it is sudo apt-get update. Got to update the system. And then we're going to apt install the application called Nano. Has nothing to do with the Jetson Nano. Nano is just an old school Linux text editor. And so we're going to click enter, and it's going to want my password. Pookie Bear. All right, there it goes. And we are off to the races. This will install quickly because it's just a little program. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now we have the Nano installed, and now we need to create this file. But in order to create the file, we create it with sudo nano and then the path and then the file name. We have to make sure that that directory is there. And so we're going to kind of step through this to make sure that we can get to that directory. So the first thing I'm going to do is cd for change directory /etc. It like that, we're there. Now change directory, what is the next one? System D. We hit enter, That's there. It's happy. Now, what's the next one? Change directory system, singular, like that. It's there. And now I'm going to change directory to type it perfectly. Ollama.service.d. Okay, denied, no such file. So what do we need to do? We need to sudo super user do, and then make mkdir, and now type it in perfectly. What do we need for the directory? Ollama.service.d, like that. Okay, now we're going to change directory into ollama.service.d. There we are. So that folder is there. I'm going to change directory back to the home directory. I don't like parking myself inside the system file, so I'm back in my home directory, and now I should be able to create that file. So I'm going to copy the sudo nano and all the nonsense after that, and I'm going to paste it. You paste by right mouse clicking. You don't paste with a Control V in a terminal. Okay, now boom, there we are. We are in the file that's a blank file, and now we've got to put something in there. We got to put what? The roadmap. We come over here, we copy the roadmap. We come over here, do we Control V? No, we right mouse click and we paste. There it is. Now we've got to save it. How do you save in Nano? You press Control and then X at the same. You press Control X and then release. So I'm going to Control X. Save modified buffer. I give it a Y, and I'm paranoid, so I give it an uppercase Y, and then right, and then I just click Enter. Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to go there, and I'm just going to cat it. I don't want to open it again, but I'm just going to cat it, and that should show me what's in that file. Okay. There it is, what we just pasted. We are good. Okay. Now with that, we need to reboot the system. And I'm going to have to get all my windows going again. But really, because that Ollama is running in the background, we really need to reboot. And I'm a little bit paranoid on the reboot. So I'm going to come over here. I'll just do it here. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to plug it back in and then boot up. So I'm going to do a sudo shut down now, like that. Sudo shut down now. Okay, looks like it's shutting down. I'm going to give it about 10 seconds. All right, and what I'll show you is what I was looking for, and what I have seen is I've seen that the little green light is off, because sometimes the screen can go off, but you haven't like fully shut down. And if you unplug at that point, you might have a problem. So let's come back over here. And then what you can see is I'm going to unplug it. And then I'm going to count to 5, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi 5. And after you've played around with the Jetson Orin Nano a little bit, you'll become paranoid like me as well. But we're going to plug it back in, and we hope now for a clean reboot. And this time when we run Ollama, it should have the roadmap. The roadmap where? The roadmap to the CUDA, to the GPUs. Okay, let's look here. When you're on camera, it just always seems like an awkwardly long time for this thing to boot up, but we'll get there. Looks like we're seeing signs of life. What's our password? Pookie Bear. Okay, seeing signs of life, and we are still in the max end super mode. That's good. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get our windows back. So I'm going to open up a terminal. Okay, see if I can get it to kind of behave well over here. That's pretty nice. We're going to open up the Firefox again, and that came up pretty nice. I kind of like that came up the same size, and it looks like we still have our yeah, we still have that new lesson that we're working on today. That's good. And then let's see if we can get our, I think I'm going to try to do it from the, folder. I put it in the documents. I'm just going to double click on that. Okay, I'm going to double click on that, and then I'm going to double click on that. I don't know why it says recover when I saved it, so I think that looks like a little bit of a glitch there. And there's our spreadsheet. I'm going to, there, okay. Hey, we got pretty good Windows management, don't we? I'm going to close the folders, and then we're going to come back over, make sure the website's good. Yep, that's good. So we took a little detour to reboot, but we're back in the saddle now. So let's see what we want to do. What was that command that we did in that previous lesson? It was to run the model. Okay, that's the Ollama run Gemma 1B. So I'm going to copy that, and then don't hit enter. We're going to paste, don't hit enter. And what do I want? I want those stats. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to put dash dash verbose. Don't click enter. I saw you. You, the one guy, I saw you. You clicked enter before I said to, because what do we want? We want to come over here and get ready with Ollama PS, because don't hit enter, because we want to see if we're actually over on the GPU now. So I'm going to come here, and now I'm going to get ready for it. You can click enter. You haven't been seeing that, have you? All right, but that's okay. You know what I was doing. Okay, so now we're going to run it verbose, and then we're going to go over and see what's, well, we'll just run it verbose, and then I'll give it a prompt, and then while it's chewing on the prompt, then we'll go see if we found the GPU. Seems like a little bit of an awkwardly long time here, but we're not gonna be impatient. I don't know if maybe the first time it has that new roadmap, maybe it's chewing on it a little while, but I think it would be wise for us to wait and let it decide where it is and what it wants to do. And again, I'm really hesitant to, oh, there it is. Okay. You see, we were patient. I think normally it won't take that long, but now what is our favorite problem factor? X raised to the fourth equal 1 completely. And I wonder if I can get that with the up arrow. Yeah, okay. And I like to use the up arrow because that way I know I'm putting the prompt in is exactly the same, and therefore our benchmark will be more meaningful. So we're going to hit enter. We're going to come over here, and now we're going to do our PS, and boom, success. 100% on the GPU. Okay, so our roadmap worked. That is a huge, huge step forward. Now let's come over here, and it is thinking about that quite a while. Now it's interesting that since we've done this roadmap, it's interesting that right now it seems like it's running slower than it was before. So we've had one little victory, and that little victory is that it is running on the GPU, and right now we're not sure why it seems to kind of have hung up a little bit. Now, sometimes what that can be is the first time you run it, it might be getting organized, it might be managing things, it might be doing things that it's not going to do in the future. But just like we were patient before, I think we should be patient this time, because once it's churning like this, I really don't like to interrupt it. Now, if it seems like it's freezed or locked, we reach the point that we've got to try something else. But here it does seem like it's chewing on it. We are on the Max Super. Remember that, we're on the Max Super. Now, the kind of surprising thing is it's not showing us its thought process like it usually does. Okay, so look, now I can see once it got going, it's going faster, and I hope next time that it's not going to make us wait like that again. Now, since we're doing a benchmark, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this and start again, and then hopefully the next time it'll go quicker. Okay, and let's come over and look at our benchmark that we were 64 tokens on the prompt and we were 14 on the evaluation. And here we are 0.22 on the prompt, which was very slow, and we're 31 on the evaluation, which is like twice as fast. But I'm a little suspect of this, so I'm going to say bye, because you're never really sure what happens the first time. Now we're just going to run it again, not the shutdown, but we're going to run the Ollama, and hopefully it'll fire up quicker this time. Yeah, boom. You see how fast that was? Now, what do we want to do is we want to factor and list all routes completely, and so we're going to let that baby run. Boom. Did you see how fast it started responding? Look how fast that's going across there. Okay, so let's see. Now, the funny thing is this Gemma model can't really work the problem. It seems like it's always giving me, it's wandering around. It's kind of like it's groping in the dark looking for a solution, but it's not coming to the right solution. So that's one thing. Does it get the right answer? And it says it's nowhere even close to getting the right answer. But it thought about it for a while. Now, what do we see this time? The evaluation tokens went from, we call that the prompt, and we're on Max Super N, and it went from 64 tokens per second to 789 tokens per second. All right. And then on the evaluation rate, it went from 14 to 32.2. And so we sort of doubled our evaluation speed, and we pretty much over 10x'd our prompt speed. Now, was it throttling? No, it didn't throttle on the CPU, and no, it didn't throttle on the GPU. Now, when it throttles, you'll get a red exclamation point up here. We didn't get that, so that means that it did not throttle. Now, I'm going to save this just because anything can happen at any second, and I want to save that. Now, I think I want to run that thing one more time and just see if we get sort of similar results. Off to the races really quickly. Well, that's interesting. How come it didn't give me, it's like it stopped or something, it gave up. So let's try it again. Okay, there it goes. I don't know why it gave up in the middle of the problem. And then this time it worked it differently and still got the wrong answer. But this time we were working on the evaluation at 890. Okay, again, better than 10x, and again, about 32. Okay, so now let's talk about the result that we have so far. We get like a 10x improvement on the prompt, and we get a 2x improvement on the evaluation. And so what we've done is we have gone from first gear to second gear. First gear is you're running on the CPU. Second gear is you're running on the GPU. But what you can see is really what I would expect is something like, up to 100 times better here on the prompt, and at least 10 times better here. And so we got the problem down to the GPU, but we're not maximizing the way that we're using the GPU. Now, why would that be? That's because we're still running on an Ollama that was created before there was a Jetpack 7.2. So any of the optimizations have not been done yet. We've pushed it to the GPU, but it might be running like a CPU model on the GPU, and therefore we're not getting that full acceleration. Now, what do? remember, you're running with the big dogs, and it's not like the Raspberry Pi 5. You cannot just sit down, flash the OS, and be in 8th gear your first session. We have gotten to 2nd gear right now, and I think that's a pretty good step. That's a pretty good step forward. And so we've gotten up to 32 tokens per second, and we're on the GPU. Now, also what I want to do is I want to run this again, and this time I want to look at that power stat. Okay, so we're going to run it, and then I'm going to come over here and run the power GUI, and then there it is. Look at, well, it goes so fast. Let's try it again. Okay, and let's see. All right, up to 100% utilization of the GPU. And then if we were watching the CPU while that was going, the CPU is really just idling while all the work is being done on the GPU. So we're seeing some really, really good things here that make me happy. Also, the prompt is now up to 1,295 tokens per second. Man, what do we wish? We wish we had this number down here, right? But what we want to do is we want to evaluate the power modes a little more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and on power mode, let's go from the super, let's just go to the 25 watt mode. Okay, system boot is required to apply changes. Do you want to reboot now? No, I don't, because it really should not have asked me to do that. And so what I can't do is I can't come in here and fill in these other ones, because when it's asking you to reboot when you change the power mode, that indicates that it's getting a little confused about something. So we don't want to mess with that. All right, because remember, Jetpack 7.2 is brand new, and all the features of it do not work perfectly. And one of the glitches people are having trouble with is they're having trouble with these power modes. All right, and what I'm afraid of is I'm afraid that if I do the reboot in the middle of a change, I'm afraid that I'm going to lose the ability to come back to this power mode. So for right now, let's just do our comparisons. Let's do our comparisons at the Supermax mode, because so many people are having trouble getting to the Supermax mode, and we're there. I don't want to end up out of the Supermax mode. So I'm going to give you a homework assignment, and when you do this assignment, the assignment is to make a short video of your results, to post that video to YouTube. In the description of your homework solution, put a link back to this video, and then on this video, leave a comment. My homework solution is on my channel, and then we all just click on your name. It takes us to your channel, and we see what results you're getting. We've got to be a community. Is everybody getting similar numbers is everyone getting similar numbers on the CPU, and is everyone getting similar numbers on the Max-N Super? And let's compare our numbers. And then also on your homework assignment, I want you to go back to this I want you to go back to this lesson, no cloud, no internet, no problem. All right, and I want you to come down here and look at the 6 models that you can play with on the Jetson Orin Nano, and I want you to fill in this benchmark for all 6 models. Now, we have done this first one here, the Gemma 3 model, and you go in and do these other models, and then you report your results. You make a video, you upload it to your channel, and then you link back here in your description on this channel. You leave a comment. Hey, my homework solution is on my channel. Now, what I would say is, what you got to remember now, you're not in Raspberry Pi land anymore. The guardrails are taken off. You're not on a roller coaster at the amusement park. You are skydiving. And when you skydive, what can happen? You can crash. And so understand that these lessons, while they sound simple, you might run into some snags along the way. Okay, guys, I hope this has been fun for you. I've had a lot of fun with it. I feel like we've made huge progress in that we are now in second gear and we've doubled the speed that we can do the inference. Now we need to what? We need to finish our benchmark. And after we finished our benchmark, how do we go to third gear? We go to third gear by seeing more acceleration when we're on the GPU, because if we go from 6 CPUs to 1024 CUDA cores, we should hopefully get more acceleration than that. Now, if we don't, I'm looking into things that we can do with these non-optimized models, or what we do is we just wait till Ollama and NVIDIA release optimized models. And what we're going to be doing over time is looking at getting these numbers up bigger. Okay, guys, I really hope that you are having as much fun with the Nano, the Orin Nano, as I am. I hope you're not getting frustrated with it. I want to hear your experiences down below. Leave me comments. This is what I'm seeing. Maybe some of you guys are already, having problem with this power mode, because I know a lot of people have reported that they can't get to the max end super rate, and we'll be looking at that in future lessons. But just understand, everything isn't working perfectly, but we are what? We are running with the big dogs. So you can help this video by leaving a comment down below. You guys discuss with each other in the comments below what you're seeing, who's it running smooth for, who's having difficulties. Interact with each other, watch each other's homework solution. Give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. When you do, make sure you ring that bell so that you get notification when future lessons drop. And most importantly, share this class with other people, because we need more people driving the AI and fewer people getting run over by the AI. Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.